So in this video we are going to talk about the list view and the recycler view, and we will also talk about what is the difference between the recycler view. We will try to cover both the theory and the practical in this one video. So let's start with that particular specific list view. In the list view we have a different source of data. Maybe that data is coming from a file that we will talk in the next lecture, that how we can access the information from the file, how we can create the file, how we can write the file, how we can read the file, or the data can come from database. So data can come from different sources, and we want to display that particular specific data in our user interface like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 in form of a specific list. To do that we need a few components. Number one thing that we need as adapter, which will try to connect our data sources, the data that is coming from different sources. The adapter is responsible for taking care of accessing the data from different data sources and allowing that particular data to be displayed in the user interface using a specific layout resource. For example, if we look at this particular specific list that you can see on the right side, it is just a simple text view in which we are showing the simple text data, which is coming maybe from an array of strings, maybe from another source, maybe from a file, and so on. So the data is being read from the data source, maybe an array, maybe a cloud database, maybe a file, maybe a database, by the adapter, and adapter using a specific layout for one item in the list. For this particular specific layout is for only one item of the list, and it will be displayed in the vertical list form. Okay, and then of course we have a list view, which is the older version. We can simply add that particular list view just like we add our text view or a button or the linear layout. So we add that particular specific text view, list view in our user interface that will look like this, and then we have set all those properties. Then later on we create a string array as a data source: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Then the second thing is that we have created that particular specific layout resource in our layout resource directory as a separate layout. And if you look at that, we have simple text view with some specific design, specific layout, and each and every item from this particular specific strings array, that is actually the source of our data. One will be going to display instead of this particular text, two is going to again display instead of that particular specific text in this text view, and similarly it will continue 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. So later on we create an adapter. We say that it's an array adapter, which is based on the string. We say array adapter is equal to new array adapter. We give the context. We are also passing out that specific layout resource that we have created in our layout resource directory, which define that particular specific text view, and we are pass this data source. Data source is our string array that we are having here. So we have created that particular specific array adapter for our data to be displayed in the user interface. So we pass the context, we have passed the layout, how each and every item in our data source is going to be displayed, and what is the data source. So these are the three items that we need to provide. And so you can imagine the first one is the context, second one is the layout, how each and every item from our array list can be displayed, and then what is the data source. Then the next step is we need to bind that particular, of course if we have a list view, so we have to initialize that particular list view with our using that specific find view by id using that specific ID that we have given to that particular list view in our UI design. So once we have initialized that particular specific variable, with that particular specific variable we can set an adapter, and the adapter, we can set the adapter that we have just created, and in this way we have bind the data with a specific list view, and it will automatically read all the data from the data source. Using that specific layout, it is going to display that particular data inside that list view, and this will be looking like this. The first on the right side, all the data is going to be displayed. Fine, and then we can also implement the on click event. Again, as you know that we have that list view, so we can say that list view dot set on item click listener. I mean, we have multiple items in that particular specific list view, so we are saying that we can implement a specific on click item listener. So we have a new adapter view dot on click item listener, and then we set on click listener, and then we have the view, we have the position mean, because if we look at that, we have the array which has the index value 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So this will give us the index value of the data that is being displayed in that specific position, and then we have the ID, and then we have, so we can, I mean, here we are just saying that making a toast with a specific array position, string array position. We are trying to know which specific item has been clicked, so we are just showing a toast message to the user. So let me show you that what is the difference of the list view and the recycler view. I have explained you the list view. What is a recycler view we will talk about a little bit later, but the conceptually, the what is a difference between the list view and the recycler view, this video is going to explain you. If you look at over there the click source, so you can find that particular specific source. Maybe you will not be able to see that particular video in your PDF slides, so you have to click on that source to view that particular specific video. But let me show you this video in this video lecture. So
list view starts by requesting a view for every visible item, however many you can fit on the screen. It'll also create a couple in either direction to make sure that we can scroll without seeing a flicker as a new view is created and populated. Then it creates new items just in time, so it's next in line to be visible to the user. So if the user never scrolls to the bottom of the list, the list view will never request that view from the adapter. But this is really just a half measure. As you can see, if the user keeps scrolling, we could potentially just keep adding new views, even if they disappear off the top of the screen.
So this is the one of the disadvantages of the list view, that if we have hundreds of thousands of items that we want to display in the list view, the list view do, it will create that particular specific layout resource file, that text view, for each and every new item that we want to display inside our list view, and then we can keep on scrolling on our screen, and then if we look at that, it will continue to grow. That particular specific size of that list view is continues to grow because it has hundreds of thousands of lists inside our data source, and we have the hundreds of thousands of list views or the text views which hold the data for each and every index value position. So this is a disadvantage. It takes a lot of memory inside our RAM if we want to display the data using the list view.
Eventually, that's going to lead to the same impact in memory use and performance as if we had just created all of these views directly at the beginning. The solution is recycling each view as it scrolls off the screen, allowing it to be reused when we need to show another item as it moves into view at the top or bottom. So rather than having to create and then hold in memory each item of the list as it comes into view, we only need to do the creation step for the number of visible items and a couple on either side. Then, whenever a new list item comes into view, we just update the data displayed in one of the items in our recycle.
So what this specific part is mean, that if we are using the recycler view, inside the recycler view, if we have a data source with hundreds of thousands of items that we want to display in that particular specific list, it is not going to create the hundreds of thousands of list items that going to hold the a lot of memory resource for our project. So what it will do, for example, as you can see in this particular specific image, we are only able to display 4 list items on our screen. Let's say we have the 8 or 10 items that we can display on our screen. Because we have bigger screen now, we can display more data on that, but again we have a limited amount of screen on which we can display the data. For example, we can display only 10 items at one time in that screen. So instead of creating the hundreds of thousands based on the source number of items inside our data, what it will do, it will create 10 which are visible to the user. That's fine, but maybe it will create only 20 items to be displayed. And whenever that item is going out of the screen, it is going to reuse the same visual items. Instead of creating the new layout for that particular specific one item, it is going to reuse that particular specific layout which is already been created, and it is going to fill that particular layout with the new data. That new data is coming from our recycler view adapter. Okay, so the recycler view adapter take the already created layout items and change their data based on the scrolling direction of our user. Maybe if the user is scrolling down, it will take the data which is going out of the screen from the downside and reuse the same layout with the new data and put it on the top so that the user can scroll down. Or the scroller, if the user is scrolling up the data, then it can the layout items which is going out of the screen from the top of the screen, it is going to reuse those layouts, fill with the new data and place in the bottom of that particular specific screen, and so that the user can scroll up. So this is how, what we mean by the we are recycling the views. So that's why we call them recycler view.
The result: less memory overhead, smoother scrolling, and less view management you have to do yourself. This same recycling behavior is implemented across all adaptive view descended classes, such as GridView and ListView, which also introduces the reason that the adapter isn't built directly into these controls themselves. By keeping them separate, your adapter defines how to display each element of the underlying data, while the adaptive view implementation itself is responsible for controlling how each of these elements is laid out, be it a list or a grid in these particular instances.
So let me
The list view starts by requesting.
okay, so we have already seen that particular specific video. So for the recycler view, again, just like our list view, we need to add that particular recycler view inside our UI design. We need to provide a specific ID, recycler view, to that particular recycler view, and that will look like this. And then the second thing is we need to add a specific layout resource in our layout resource directory, which will help us to hold one item in that list. One item. Remember that this particular specific layout file that we have created here, it hold only one item. I will show you in the practical demonstration what does it mean, but this is the one item. Okay, and I mean, this is a specific layout. Here we are using the card view. We also have inside the card view, we have a linear layout. Inside the linear layout, we have an image view, and then we also have a text view that holds some text inside it. Fine. Though we have introduced inside our activity. Inside our activity, we have put our recycler view in our UI design, and we assign a specific ID because we want to access that particular recycler view. In our Java code, we also defined the layout, how one item is being displayed, what will be the layout for one item in our recycler view or the list view. And then we need to again create the adapter. So we have here the adapter is a little bit complex as compared to our list view adapter. So here the adapter is again is a separate class which is going to be the child class of a RecyclerView.Adapter, and we also have a VH, that's a view holder. What is by view holder? I will discuss it a bit later. So we need to create that particular view holder, RecyclerView.Adapter class. We define the data source inside it, and then when we are going to create that particular specific object of this particular specific RecyclerView.Adapter class, then we need to fill that particular data from our source. Second thing that we need to do, when we are creating that particular specific object, we are filling that particular specific data part of our RecyclerView.Adapter. And the second thing is then we have different what you can say that the second thing is we need to create that particular view holder class. View holder class is actually, you can say that we have defined that specific layout, how one item in that particular list is going to be displayed, how what specific views we required. For example, we have a card view. Inside the card view we have a linear layout. Inside the linear layout we have an image view, we have a text view. It can become a very complex thing if we depending on our requirement. So this particular specific layout is being handled by our view holder class. So this is our view holder class, which in which we have a text view, we have a card view. So it means all that particular text view which we are going to change at runtime the data inside it. Maybe we want to implement whenever we are clicking on that specific item. So because that item is inside the card, so if we apply the click event on that card, then it means that we are having a click event on that particular specific item in the list. So I will show you that how we can do that. But this RecyclerView.ViewHolder class is actually representing one visual layout of the one item that exists in our specific list. So actually, remember that we say that we have a list view. If we can only display 10 list items, then maybe we create the 20 list items. So actually we are creating 20 view holder class objects which represent each and every item. And then in this but using this particular view holder class, we can change the data within that particular specific list item using these variables that we are defining in this particular view holder class. So this one view holder class is actually representing one visible layout which holds some data from our data adapter or from our data source. So this is one particular specific list item that we are talking about. And recycler means that we can use the same list item with the different data inside it, whether the user is scrolling up or whether the user is scrolling down. So this one view holder class representing one visible item inside that particular specific list view or the recycler view. Fine. So we need to create that particular specific class. It is again, we can select whatever name for that particular class, and it should be the child class of the RecyclerView.ViewHolder class. And the one thing that we have to implement or the override that particular specific method is our yeah, RecyclerViewHolder test. We are initializing that one. Where is our we have the override on click, no, that's an on click view. We have a specific method that in the practical I will show you that we need to implement that particular specific what you can default constructor, that specific constructor of that particular specific view holder class. We need to implement that particular specific method. If we don't implement it, is going to be this line is going to be red and it will not going to compile into a proper way. So we have defined our if you look at that, we have inside our RecyclerView.Adapter class, we have only initialized our data inside the constructor. but we have not finished the definition of our RecyclerView.Adapter class. Okay, we have defined our RecyclerView.ViewHolder class, and now we will continue to design our, what you can say that, the RecyclerView.Adapter class. So we have some specific methods that we need to override. The first method that we need to override is the get item count. It means it will tell us, it will always give us the total number of data that we want to display in that particular recycler view in the form of a list or maybe in the form of a grid. Okay, so it will give me the length of data. By default it is returning 0. We will see that when we implement it, it will by default returning 0. So we need to fix that particular specific thing, and we need to show the exact amount of data that we are going to return, we are going to um, have inside we have inside our data source. The second method that we need to override is the recycler view holder test on create view holder. This particular specific method on create view holder. So whenever we are creating one view holder, in the beginning we are creating the new view holder, but later on we are going to reuse them as a recycling them. Okay, so in the beginning of course we need to create. So again, this is decided by the system itself, how many view holder objects are required to show the data. Maybe we can only display say 8 list items in one screen, and then the system can decide, okay, I think 12 view holder objects are quite sufficient to display the whole of the data, or maybe more, maybe less, depending on the system requirement, system efficiency. It can create or destroy the view holder objects by itself. That is something which is managed by the system, managed by the recycler views. We don't need to manage it about itself. But whenever we are going to create that particular specific view holder, what we are going to do? Okay, so in this we are saying that the layout inflator, because in the view holder we are going to inflate, we are going to create a specific layout which has the card view, list view, linear layout, image view, and the text view. So we need to create, so we have an inflator which is going to inflate a specific layout. So we are going to create a specific layout inflator dot from where we have a specific view group, that is the context which contains that specific view holder. So we are going to get that particular inflator from there, and then using that inflator we are going to create that particular specific layout. So we are telling that you need to create that dot inflate, mean that you need to create that specific layout. Which layout? We are providing that layout resource file, and that it is bind to that particular specific view group, and it is attached to that parent or not. So by default it is true, so we are making it false. And at the end we are saying that return new recycler view holder test view. So it means that it will call that specific what you can say that the constructor that we have defined inside our view holder class. It will keep using that particular view which has been layout that has been created. It using that particular layout, it is going to initialize all those things, apply those, create those click listeners or whatever we want to do in that particular specific constructor. So it is actually called that specific constructor and pass on that particular view, which is actually the layout for one specific item to be displayed inside the recycler view. So this is the first method. This is the second method that we need to override. In first method we are trying to find out that how much data is there inside our data source that we want to display for in our recycler view. In the second overridden method we are going to create one view holder and what we are going to do with that. Okay, and the third method that we need to implement, we need to override, is the on bind view holder. It means that if we have created the view holder but we have not put the data inside it, inside that particular specific view holder. So here inside that layout, so here we are trying to put the data inside it. We can change that position, it will have a different type of data. inside it. Okay, so here we are updating the data inside our one item layout. So these are the methods that we need to override. And finally, the the same step that we have done with the list view, we have a recycler view variable. We are going to initialize it with our from using the id that we have defined for our recycler view inside our ui design ui layout file. And then we are saying that we dot set layout manager. Here we said no new linear layout manager, providing the context. It will display all the items from our data source in the form of a specific vertical list. Okay, and then we are setting the adapter for that particular recycler view, and this will be the new object of our recycler view adapter class that we have defined, and we have overridden all those three methods inside it. Okay, so this is the final step, and once we have done that, it will display that particular spec. Again, we have the multiple data sources which we can define inside our recycler view adapter, and inside the recycler view adapter we have overridden those three methods using that specific layout that we have defined in our layout resource file. It is going to display each and every item from our data source inside our user interface, that is actually a recycler view. So let us go back to our example. We are talking about that database handling. So we have implemented the students database, and remember that we also have that specific list view button. And then now we are going to implement that particular specific list view, not list view, we are on click event, on click event. So I say that list view button clicked. Okay, so list view button is being clicked. So when this list view button is clicked, we want to display, we say that alt enter, and then we want to create that particular specific list view. Now what we want to take a liberty, actually I have already added a few, around 20 students data inside our database. So what I want to do, I want to display that particular specific database table, the all the records which exist inside our students table. I want to display them as a specific recycler view list file. Okay, so this is what I want. And first thing is, if we remember that we have the first name, we have the last name, we have the username, we have the password, we have the gender, and we also have that particular specific mobile. So these are the 6 information that we have in our students table. Now I want to create a specific layout in which I want to display all of this information in such a way that looks good for us. So what we need to do, we need to create a specific layout for one student to be displayed in that list view. Okay, so what for, we need to open our resource folder. Inside the layout resource folder, we are going to right click, and then we say that we want to create a new layout resource file. So we can say that it is our list layout underscore student, because this is the, or maybe we can say that student underscore list layout, or maybe we can simply say that it's a layout file which is representing a student and inside our list. And you know that we cannot put capital letters here. The reason is that we are giving a resource file name, and it is a linear layout. Instead of linear layout, we can't have the car layout right now, so we keep it like that. And then it's a main, and it's a layout resource directory, and click OK. If we look at that, it automatically create that particular specific layout resource. By default, the top level tag is the linear layout. So let me go back to the design, and I am trying to search the card view. If we look at it, we have a card view. By default, that card view is not there. because we have that particular down arrow. If we click on that down arrow, it will add that dependency inside our Gradle file. So let me show you the Gradle file here. So if we look at that, we don't have any kind of a card view. But if I come back here, click on that particular specific down arrow, I have clicked it, so we have to wait on it to show us that particular specific. Let me do it again. Yep, so it is trying that the operation requires the library, that is the card view colon card view this. So we want to add those dependencies. I said okay. Would you like to do it anyway? The project may not compile after adding this library. I say cancel, and then I again click one time. Okay, with the dependency this it's okay, we want to add it. I say click okay. And as soon as we have done that, it is trying to add all those libraries. And now if we go back into our Gradle file, you can see that it has that particular specific card view, AndroidX.card view 1.0.0. So that is the latest version, or the maybe the version automatically added here. So it have added that particular specific card view. So now if I go back here, then I can convert that particular specific linear layout into the card view. Okay, again it's not showing up me card view. Remember that we have that particular same problem when we are working on this inside our class. So let me close that particular project and open it again. So let me close this project. Okay, and then I open that particular specific project again and bring it on our recording screen. So we have that one. So let me see if we can have, so look at that. Now this card view is quite visible for us. So we have that particular specific card view. We also have that particular specific vertical layouts, and then we need to have a card view, card corner radius. I say that it's a 20 dp, and then we can say that card background color. I will check what is that. We also have that card elevation. I set 10 dp. Fine, so it will show us. Let me put some margin around it. Margin, that is 10 dp. We also want to leave some padding, that is 5 dp all around inside that card view. Fine, so how I can get to my what you can say that how I can get that particular specific color. So you know that we have to go that material design. So inside the material design we have that specific color library. Okay, so where is that particular specific? Yeah, we have a color tool. We click on that particular color tool, then it will give us that particular specific resources. So let me, okay, I got it. So what I want a little bit yellowish color. I want maybe I will track this one a little bit lighter one. Control C, and then I can come back to my Android Visual Studio, and here I'm saying that I want to use that particular specific color view. And the other thing is that because width is fine, we want to cover the whole screen, but we don't want to cover the whole height in our screen. So we say that match parent. Right now there is nothing inside, so you can't see anything here right now. So let me put that particular specific linear layout. I say match parent, again I say wrap content, and we have that particular specific linear layout. And inside that particular specific linear layout we are putting an image view. We say maybe I say that I want 80 dp width, and I'm also want 80 dp height. So the other thing is we want to make that particular specific image view as a self-closing tag, and then we have the source. The other thing is we need to add a few. What is my idea? That I will show a specific I also put some padding inside it, 10 dp. So we have that particular specific padding in the 10 dp. Okay, the other thing is that I want we have that particular specific color. Why this color is not visible? Background color, card background color. Okay, let's see, I mean, how it goes when we are going to, sometime it's not visible in that particular specific layout. So we will see that. uh, what is the idea? I want to show the name, I want to show the username, I don't want to show the password here, and then I also want to show that specific we have first name, last name. Gender is going to be depicted inside the picture because we have two icons, one for the male and one for the female. If the gender is male, then we are going to show a boy icon. If it is a female, then we are going to show a girl icon in it. And we have the name, that is first name and last name together. And then the second place we are going to display the username, and the third place we are going to display that particular specific mobile number. So we are going to create another linear layout, which is the vertical one, and in which we are going to display all those information. So that is it. So here we need to add those what you can say, that add those specific icons or the images. So I'm just copying from those images from one of my from my computer, and then I'm going to right click on the drawable, and then I say I want to paste, I want to put them into the drawables. Okay, and then again okay. And if you look at that, we have that boy and the girl png. So here we are saying that source is equal to girl. So if you look at that, we have that particular, maybe I can make that particular specific 100 instead of 80, and then again I can use the same 100 dp. Okay, so we have that particular specific thing, and then after that I'm trying to, what you can say, again a linear layout. I say match parent, I say wrap content, and then I put this thing here. And I also want to what you can say, that I want to add that particular specific I want to change the orientation, because default orientation is horizontal, we want to make it vertical. So whenever we are adding those text views, text view, wrap content, and we also want to put some margin on the left side, that is 20 dp, so it is not sticking to that particular specific image. So that what we are trying to do, again we need to self close that particular specific tag, that is a text view. And we are also providing those images, and the text views a specific id. So we say that id, so we can say that it is a student underscore item underscore card underscore list. So I'm just say that it is and then we it is an image. Okay, so we are giving its long name, but it will clearly identify this particular specific id where where it has been put it over there. So maybe I can say that the same thing, student item card list, and then we can use this particular id here as well. And we say control view, and this is our name. Okay, maybe I can just put some text here, and I say that it is a name, not name app, only the I want to put name here. Okay, so let me copy that particular specific text view and paste it here. Okay, so this is not the name, this is our what you can say, this is our uname, that is a username. And let me change a little bit text size, I say 20 sp, and then text color text style, we say bold, and text color, I say that it's a dark primary. Okay, so let me copy these informations here in the second text view as well. Okay, so here it is not a name, it is a username. Okay, maybe I can change the color here, making it accent color, which is more visible to me. Fine, so we are just trying to have different colors here, and then let me copy this thing again and then putting it here. That is our, so if we look at that now, our we have the name, we have, maybe we can put some margins over there between these names. Okay, so this is our mobile. Okay, what else? I think we have put all those spaces behind that, and we have put those informations. It should be, maybe I can try to choose the accent color. It is not visible. No, accent color, it is not selected, so it is not going to, I mean right now it is not showing me that specific color, so I stick to that specific yellowish color in the background. We have put the margin between that particular specific card view, the elevation, we have shown it over here. Maybe I can use that particular specific 8 and then putting that particular specific to the 15 so that we can see those elevations. We have put the padding as well, so I think it looks great. So look at that, this is our one student layout. One student layout, that how we are going to display one item inside our list view. Okay, so this is the one layout, and we are going to create that layout and put that particular or attach that particular layout with our view holder class that we are going to create, and then we can access all these text views and the image view to change the information and to change the image inside that particular specific view holder or the layout for different type of different information from different data. Okay, so we have created that particular layout for one item in the list. Fine, so it looks fine for me, so I will just leave it like that for the time being. And now what we need to do, we need to do two things. Number one thing, that we need to connect, we need to what you can say, that we need to create that particular specific recycler view adapter, and then we also need to create a recycler view holder class. So let me start with that particular specific view holder. So what I can do, I can create a new class. So I simply say that and the other thing is, let me cancel it down. The other thing is, we have not added our we don't have the recycler view. If we look at that again inside the design view, recycler view, and they say that it is actually does not exist, this particular specific library does not exist here. Okay, again, if we go back into the Gradle file, we don't have any recycler view. So let me go back here inside my design view, and I want to add that particular specific recycle. Again, when we click on that, it will ask me that we are going to add that particular specific annotation and the dependencies. Maybe your project is unable to compile after this edition of the library, so do you want to continue? Yes, we want to continue. And if we look at our app class, so you can see that it has a recycler view 1.0.0, so it has added that particular dependency automatically. It's synchronized our project, so we have that particular recycler view. Fine, that is okay. So first of all, we need to add that particular specific recycler view, because in the beginning, if I try to do that, so we can say that we have a student list view holder, student list view holder. So it will be a child class of RecyclerView.ViewHolder. Okay, so that will be the child class of that particular specific view holder class inside our recycler view. So we say click OK, and if you look at that, say that you need to implement, you need to do something, we can simply say alt enter, and when we say alt enter, it says you need to create a specific constructor for the super class, which is the view holder class. So we need to create that specific constructor here inside our class. So we have created that particular, and now we need to recall our specific layout. We have image view, we have a text view, we have a text view, and we have a text view which has specific IDs has been assigned to them. So we need to create those variables. We say that image view, that is our image, okay, and then we have a text view, and we have name, we have you name, or maybe I can say that something like this, edit text, not edit text, it is a text view name, so that we know that what we are talking about. We have TV uname, and then we also have a not TC, it's TV. Okay, so we have a TV, what is that, TV name, TV uname, and TV mobile. So we have that text view mobile, text view username, text view name, and the text and the image itself. So we need to initialize those particular specific inside our constructor. We need to initialize these variables and connect with those our layouts. So what we can do, we say that image, not image view, image is equal to, now if I try to find by view ID, it is not there because we are not in the activity class. In the activity class, we can simply say find by view ID, we can do that, but here we have to ask this particular specific item view, which is coming as a parameter to this particular specific constructor, to find that particular specific dot find by view ID, and then we can provide that as ID dot I think it's like student list, because this is an image, so we are putting that particular image, and then we say that we have TV name is equal to item view dot find by view ID, and then we said r dot id dot student, and then we list name, and then we also have that particular specific TV uname is equal to item view dot find by view ID, and then we said r dot id dot what we can say that that is a student, and that is a uname, so we say username, we are going to do that, and then we have the TV mobile. So TV mobile, again we are going to ask our item view to help us to find that particular specific find view by ID, and then r dot id dot student, and then we say mobile. So we have initialized those items. The one other thing that I want to access it here, I want, because we want to do something on that particular specific what you can say that we want to perform some specific information, we want to perform some specific data action on that. So when we click on that particular specific card view, we want to perform some specific action. So let me assign the ID to student underscore item underscore item underscore card student underscore card. Okay, fine, because it is a student item card presenting that particular specific card. So we go back, and here we are saying that we have a card view. Okay, this is our actually a card view. So we have a card view, and again we can initialize that particular specific card view. Card view is equal to card view is equal to item dot find by view id, and then we say r dot id dot student, and we have that item card. So now using that particular specific variable, we can set on click listener, and then we say that new on click listener. So we have assigned that particular specific card view as a listener. We can assign that click event to an image, maybe name. Okay, so we can, I mean, if we click on the image only, then we are going to perform some function, but right now we are saying that if we click anywhere inside the card, we are going to perform that particular specific function. Maybe I want to show toast dot make text, and then we need to get that particular specific. Can I have this get application context? No. So what we need to do, we need to ask our item view dot get application get context. Okay, so it is going to get that particular specific context. Card has been clicked. We are passing that particular specific message toast dot length. Okay, and then we are going to show that particular specific message. So on the click, we are just trying to the other thing that we want, that we have a student, and we are going to create a student object. Okay, and then whenever we are going to create, we have that particular specific student, we can initialize them. We will initialize that particular specific student inside our student card view. So why, I will let you know a little bit later. So we have defined our view holder class, in which we have initialized all those image, TV name, TV username, TV mobile, card view, and we also have assigned a specific click event on that card view. Fine. The second step is that we need to create that particular specific card view holder. Sorry, not card view holder. Card view holder we have already done. So we need to RecyclerView.Adapter. So again, we are going to add a new class. So what name we should be giving here? So we are saying student list RecyclerView, or maybe RecyclerView student list RecyclerView adapter, and then this should be a RecyclerView.Adapter. Okay, so this is our what you can say, that the parent class of this particular specific class that we are going to define here. And the other thing is we need to define that particular, so we have that student sorry, it is not going to come here, it is going to come here inside this extender, the parent class. So we have this thing, and then here inside the angle bracket, we are going to tell that it is going to handle which type of the view holder. That is actually a student list view holder. Okay, and it say that you need to implement a few things. So I say alt enter, and it asks me that you want to need to implement those methods, and which are those methods: get item count, on create view holder, and on bind view holder. So when we are going to create the view holder, what we are going to do, when we are putting the data inside the view holder, what we are going to do, and how much data is there inside our adapter, inside our data source. And if you recognize, we have not initialized our data yet. So remember, because we are saying that we are going to access our students table, in which I have already added a few number of students, now 2021. So we want to access that particular specific data and then data set, and then we are going to what you can say that we are going to read all those information. And you know that the query, it will return me a list of students, so we can define that particular specific list student, and we can say that our data, this is our data. Okay, so I think it's saying that we need to import the class. Yeah, we need to import that particular specific class because I just put list and angle bracket. We need to, I mean, let me show you this thing happens sometime here. So whenever we say list, we press enter. When you press enter, it automatically add that thing unless until you type yourself. Okay, so then we say student, again enter, and then we say that this is our data, and that definitely in this particular specific data is empty in the beginning. So here inside the get count, we say data dot size. Whatever that data size is, it is going to return our that particular specific number. But definitely we need to initialize that particular specific data. So we can say that public student list recycler view adapter, it is a empty constructor. Now how we can initialize that particular data? It means that we need to perform what you can say that perform a separate perform a specific thread, performing all those database operation, and then we need to initialize it. So what we can do, how we can do it? Okay, so let me again, as you know that we cannot perform inside our main activity, maybe we can do it here. How we can do that? That's an interesting question. So let's see. I mean, I can say that I can have main activity dot my DAO dot read all students, and I can simply say that data is equal to this, because it is going to return me a list of students. So that is, we are assigning them into the database. Can we do that? No? Let's see. I mean, if we can do it, I mean, if the system is considering that RecyclerView.Adapter as a main thread or not. If it is considered as a main thread, then it is not going to allow us. But let's see, inside the constructor, we are creating that particular database, assigning that data to our data part, and now we come back to our list view button, click event. Then definitely we need to start a new activity in which we are going to display all the students. So the thing is very simple. We need to create a new activity here, again an empty activity, and then we say that this is a student list activity. Okay, so and then we just click finish, and we have that particular specific. So now the point is, inside my student list activity, we have that particular student list activity. We need to add that specific. Maybe I just want to create it into a linear layout, and inside my main activity I have that particular specific text view, and I want to use the same text view here, of course with that different so that we have more or less the similar. So we have the contents, so we have a room database. Why it is so that maybe what is that? So we have the vertical. Yeah, we need to change that particular into the vertical orientation. Orientation is vertical. Okay, still it is on the left side. Maybe I can say that we have the gravity, that is horizontal center. Yeah, it is going over there. So if we look into that one, yeah, we have the center gravity and the vertical one. So we have applied the same thing. So let me change it. So it's a room database login test. No, it is not a room database login test. It is our what you can say that student list test. maybe I can put /n and then put recycler view, and maybe I can say text alignment is center, so it is going to be center aligned. So this is our text view. Fine. Then what we need to add here, we need to add a recycler view. Okay, recycler view, and it is going to be match parent, and it is going to be match parent again. So we are going to close it down. And the other thing that I want to here, I want to put a margin all around, so that I say that 5 dp. Okay, that is one thing that I want to do. I also want to assign the ID. It is our student list recycler view. Okay, student list recycler view. Fine, we have that particular specific recycler view. We have assigned the ID. So what we need to do, again, we need to create that particular specific recycler view, student list, and we are going to initialize not like this. We are going to initialize student list is equal to find by view id r.id dot student. We have the student list recycler view, and as you know that we have 3 things to do. First thing is we need to assign that particular student list dot set set layout manager, and then we say that new linear layout manager. So layout manager, and we need to pass the context here, and then we say that student list dot set adapter, and then we need to provide that particular specific adapter. So here we can say that new student list recycler view adapter, and we are done. Okay, so inside the main activity we need to create an intent. Intent is equal to intent is equal to new intent, and then we can say that this, and then we say that student list activity dot class, and then we can say that start activity, and we pass on the intent. So it will, on the click event of that list view, it is going to start that particular student list activity. The other thing that is missing here in our recycler view adapter, we have not implemented. We say that get the data of our, get the size of our data in our get item count. We initialized our data inside using our DAO, reading all the records from our students and putting them into the data. That's fine, we have initialized it, and we need to check that if it is going to be allowed inside this particular specific class or not. Let's see. We will get the error messages when we are, but we have not implemented that on create view holder, and whenever we are changing the binding the data with changing the data inside that particular view holder. So we need to implement those things, and if we can remember this thing, we can go back and see how we have implemented. This is our on create. So here we say that layout inflator, so we can need a layout inflator. Inflator is equal to, we say that it's layout inflator dot from, layout inflator dot from, and then it is a parent from which we are going to get that particular specific layout inflator. Okay, parent dot get context, parent dot get context. Fine, we need to provide that context, and then we need to create a view. View is equal to inflator dot inflate, and then we need to provide a few parameters. The first thing is the resource r dot layout dot we have that particular specific student information, no, student list. We have just created it here. Let me see. Yeah, student layout underscore student list. So layout underscore student list. The second thing that we need to provide is our view group or the parent. That is our parent, and then we say it is not to be connected with the attached to that root, that is the parent. Fine, and then at the end we are going to return that particular specific. So we say that new student list view holder, and we pass that particular view as an input to that particular constructor. So it will go into that particular list view, it will initialize all those variables in that particular specific list view object, image view, student, and all. So we have that particular specific part. It is done. Fine. Now we talk about the data inside that particular specific view holder. Okay, so how we can do that? This first thing is we have that position. It means at which position data, which position of the data we want to show in this particular current view holder. So it will give me the appropriate position. The first time it will be 0, second time it will be 1, third time it will be 2. So it's index value inside this particular student list. Fine. So what we can do here, so we can say that student, or maybe we have that particular view holder, so holder dot student is equal to data dot get position. So whatever that current position of the current data that we want to show in the view holder, we are getting that data from the list of the students out and initializing that inside the view holder. Okay, and then we need to check, of course, first thing is we need to check the image. We can say that if holder dot student dot get gender dot equals, and if it is male, then what we want to do, we say that holder dot image dot set image source r dot drawable dot boy. If it is male, then it is going to this one. In the else case, we can say that holder dot image dot set image resource r dot drawable dot girl. So you can imagine, so we have initialized, if it is male it will show the boy image, if it is the female then it will show the girl image. And the other thing is we need to initialize that particular name, so we say that holder dot tv name dot set text, and you know that here we can say that holder dot student dot get first name, and then we also need to put a space in between them, and then we also say that holder dot student dot get last name. So we are combining those together in one place, so that become the complete name. So we have initialized that thing. Then we have say that tv username dot set text, and then again from the student object inside our holder we say that student dot get user name, and it will initialize that thing. Then we also have the holder dot tv mobile dot set text, and then we say that holder dot student dot get mobile number. So it will initialize. So look at that, we have initialized the image, we have initialized the name, I mean we have put the data from the student object inside our name text view, in the user name text view, in the mobile text view, and we also set the appropriate image according to the gender of that particular specific student of the current position. So we have initialized, implemented those data whenever it is going to be changed. And every time we are going to recycle that particular view holder, we are not going to create that view holder, we are only going to change that particular specific data inside it. It means the on binding the view holder. On binding mean we are binding the data with the view holder object. So every time we are going to run that particular specific method instead of creating the new one in the beginning. If the system required to create a new view holder, then it will call this one. Otherwise it will only using this particular on bind view holder method, it is going to change the data inside it. That's it. Okay, so let's, in my opinion, we have set the view holder class, we have set the adapter view, we also have set the activity, we also have set this initializing the recycler view, initializing the layout manager, and we are initialize that particular specific set adapter. Fine, so I think that that should be working fine. So let us cross our finger and see if it is working or not. And we can open that particular specific. I mean, I have been adding those. So first thing is we want to go and we want to have a list view, and we have a specific problem. And what is that problem? As you know, remember that we can look at the error message. So we can have that particular specific error message here. So it say that on the list student list activity, student recycler view adapter, line number 21. Yeah, he is saying that you can't do that here. The same thing, I mean, it is saying that it's, so again you can see that cannot access database in the main thread since it may potentially lock down the UI. The same, so we have to put that particular specific operation inside our separate, so we can't say this thing. Okay, so we control X, it means that we need to create a specific thread private class fill recycler view adapter data, and it will extend the AsyckTask. It is does that particular specific thing is going to take in some input? I don't think so that there is any input, so we can simply say that void it. We don't want to have any progress, we don't want to have any, and then we can simply say that alt enter, we need to implement that particular specific doing background method, and here we are going to do that. So we are simply say that data is equal to main activity dot my DAO dot read all data all students. So we have put that thing here. Then here inside our constructor we can simply say that what we can say. So we are saying that we new fill recycler view data dot execute, or not is cancelled, dot execute, and we are not providing any parameter as an input to this one, so it has executed this thing, and inside that particular specific adapter, so whenever we are going to create it, it is going to execute that particular thread which is going to fill that particular data part. Okay, we need to check one thing here, because that could be the possibility that we run this particular specific get item count. Let me see, because maybe it is a possibility that it our system try to get the count of the data, and the data is not initialized in the thread yet. It is that particular specific process is still in the process, but still running, and it has not initialized the data there, and it try to access it, so maybe it will be a null pointer exception it will occur. So let's see. I mean, let's see, I mean, how it is going to be executed. I mean, does it do it or not? So we can go back and then we say that we don't want to do that. We want to, okay, why it is not showing me up here? Okay, where's my, I want to stop it. Okay, so let me see if I list view. Yep, wow, this is showing me, but the point is it is showing me, if I like that, it is showing me all those data, but this is not the way I want to look at it. So we need to look at our what you can say that the layout file. So we have the student information, we have this layout underscore student list. Yes, it is going to be. So where I am creating, okay, we say that match parent. I think I remember that I'm converted into the wrap contents. So let me stop it and then run it again, and we can see that if we click on the list view, so now you can see that we have a Bas Malik and it is showing me the picture as a male or boy. Then we have Elisa Michael, which is showing me as a girl. Pete Mock, which is again um, Jaden Barry is again boy. Leo Alvarado, that's again boy. Columbus Buchan, so I'm sorry for my pronunciation. Lily is again girl. Michelle Cowling is again girl. Jacob Halgroth, now we have a correct one, it's a boy. Navreet Kaur, again it's a girl. So you can see that we have shown all our, so again we can click on that, click on that specific, so it's a card has been clicked, 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 clicked. So if we click on that specific card, it is performing that specific click event that we have applied on that particular specific layout card view. Okay, so but this is not, this is what we want to do, to make a little bit simpler for you that particular specific part in which we need to edit that particular specific student, remember. So I again go into my recycler view holder, and instead of showing that particular specific toast, so okay, I say that I want to show that particular specific toast, but I want what I want that I create an intent, and I say that new intent, and again I need to get that particular specific context. So I say that item view dot get context, and then I need to provide that name. So, you know, we have that student information activity dot class, in which we have already implemented that that behavior to update, delete that specific student. Remember that. So what I am to do again, I need to put that particular specific student object. So I say put extra, and again main activity dot student object, and then I put the student object that we have initialized here. Look at that, we have that particular specific student object which we have initialized here in the when we are binding the data with our student. So we are saying holder dot student is equal to get data from that particular student list, initializing that particular specific holder. So it is already there. Okay, so we are trying to put that particular specific student object inside our what you can say that inside our intent, and then we have start activity. So again we have to ask the item view dot start activity, start activity. No, we don't have that one, so let me see that. So we say that get get context dot start activity, and we are passing that particular specific intent. So from the item view, we are getting the context and asking that particular specific start activity method to start that particular specific intent. And of course, we keep that particular toast messages over there. So let me stop it and go back, run that application. So it will show you that what wonderful things we can do. So we have a list view. It show me all of that. Let me go back and change. Maybe I want to change myself. Okay, so again, if you look at that, it show me the same information. It show me that toast as well. Okay, so I can update those informations. Maybe I can say that I want to update this information. I say update, and now look at that. If I press the cancel, it will not going to go back to the main activity. It will go back to that particular list view. Bingo. So now you have learned that how we can implement the click events, and we can do some useful work because we have a list of students. We can edit them. The same thing you need to do with the course and the enrollments. So using this particular specific video, I try to explain you a little bit more and show you how we can implement the list view in an appropriate way, and we can perform some specific appropriate and interesting actions on that particular list item click event. Okay, so I hope it will help and you have learned few things in this particular specific video. If you feel have any question, then please don't shy and ask me via email or in the class. You can find me in the college, and I hope that will help you in building your SDLT04. Okay, best of luck. Bye.